Hey everyone, welcome back to At the Film School. I'm Hayley, and for today's video, I'm going to be answering all of your questions. So let's go. So I usually receive a lot of questions on my videos from you guys just about my film school experience and the projects that I'm working on. So what I want to do today is answer some of the questions you sent me, and then also just address some questions that I've seen have been posted kind of repeatedly on some of my previous videos as well. So to kick things off, a question that I usually see popping up, or similar questions, are how much was NYU, how much were the tuition costs, and how much do I have in debt? So that's actually a really great question. Obviously, when you're looking to go to film school, or if you're interested in film school at all, then you're going to be faced with pretty high tuition bills, especially if you're going to a private school. You can take out a lot of loans for school, you can take out scholarships, you can get financial aid. So I did all of those things, but at the end of the day, for going to NYU and going to study film there, the tuition is one of the highest in the country. Tuition costs are something to keep in mind when you're applying to film school. As unfortunate as it is right now in America, if you're looking to go to college, you're also looking at probably years and years of debt afterwards if you're taking out loans for it. NYU's tuition costs, at least in my last year, were up to $65,000 a year. And that obviously is before all the scholarships and all that kind of stuff. So I did take out quite a lot of loans for that. Unfortunately, NYU kind of has a reputation for not giving out a ton of scholarships to its students, which I guess makes sense considering there's literally thousands and thousands of students. It's such a huge school. It'd be really difficult to give more than they already do. For each year of school at NYU, I think I only received about $3,000 to $5,000 in scholarship money from them directly. So that does take off some from the overall tuition. But again, when you're looking at, $3,000 versus a $65,000 year tuition, it's quite minimal. So for any of you that are thinking about that, again, tuition is quite a big factor in deciding whether or not you want to go to a big university like NYU to study film. So this next question is one I see pop up a lot as well. People usually ask me what projects I'm currently working on, and if any of my projects are currently online as well. Currently, since I am working a full-time job, I don't really have as much time as I'd like to work on bigger film projects. So at the moment, YouTube is kind of my main thing that I do on the weekends. I'm hoping throughout 2018 I can start writing more scripts for short films I want to make, and by the end of 2018 my goal is to produce at least one short film that's about 30 minutes or less. And actually, one of the biggest projects I am currently working on is for YouTube. So it's going to be like a huge video project all about film school. So just make sure you're checking my social media and my blog for any updates on that, and details will be coming very, very soon. And as far as the past projects I've done, I haven't really produced like one big film or one big short film. I kind of have little snippets of things and like little music videos that I've done and projects I did back when I was in high school. If you want to check that out, it's kind of embarrassing. I will link below my old channel with all of that other stuff on it if you really want to take a look at it. This next question comes from Evan Johnston. He asks, what is my specialty, directing, cinematography, or writing? I want to say I kind of dabble in all three. Going into film school, my preference was directing. That was like what I was set in stone really wanting to do. But I also loved writing on the side because I'd always be writing my own scripts or like short stories and stuff. And then cinematography was something that I studied as well during my time at school, but it wasn't something I ever felt I was like that great at. If I were to pick one out of directing, cinematography, or writing, I would definitely pick directing, just because I have always kind of wanted to have control over my projects and be able to kind of call the shots. But again, I love doing all three, and especially with writing, if I'm coming up with an idea, I have to be the one that's getting it down to the paper, like writing it and typing it out and all that. It would feel really strange to me direct something that I haven't written, because it's never something that I've done, and I know it happens all the time. Like it's pretty commonplace for people to direct screenplays that they haven't written, but honestly, I just love being able to have my own idea from start to finish. Since I'm kind of a perfectionist, I've kind of taken on all of those three roles in all the past video projects I've done, because sometimes I feel like if I want it done a certain way, or if I want it done correctly according to my standards, then the only way to get there is to do those things myself. Towards the end of my time at film school, I was starting to realize how important it is to get other people to help out with your projects and take that load off of you. Because when you're filming something, and let's say you're directing and doing cinematography, you have so much to focus on at once, and just adding another level of difficulty to the project already, because not only are you directing every other department, but you also have to handle the camera. And those two things are very time consuming in and of themselves. Though I do everything, my advice to anybody who's looking to make their own short films and can think that they're gonna do everything themselves, hire other people. Just hire your friends, somebody that you trust, because that makes a world of difference. Another question I received on one of my videos was, do you think it's easier to get a job in post-production? And if you don't know what post-production is, it's mainly just editing, getting the film ready to go so it can be sent out for viewing and distribution. When you're going into kind of any job in the film industry, obviously you're going to be starting at the bottom. At least with what I've heard from post-production houses when you're going to apply for them or when you're looking to work at them. Obviously, coming straight out of school, you can't go directly into being an editor. You'll either be like an assistant editor or you'll do some kind of like secretary job or some kind of assistant job just so that you can get your foot in the door. And then you work your way up from there. In a sense, it might be a little bit easier to get into a post-production company if you're looking for an entry-level position like that, because like I said, you're just going to be doing like some of the very basic assistant work, like running around the office, taking care of random tasks, doing the secretary work, answering phones, answering emails. If your passion is editing and you want to work at a post-production place, then I don't think it's very difficult at all. Honestly, the best piece of advice I can give if you're looking into that is reach out to anybody you know that might work at a post-production company or knows somebody that works at a post-production company, or just email them directly, because often they will be hiring for assistant positions. They can always take on more help as well. And especially if it's just going to be an internship that you're doing very part-time, then again, that experience is really valuable. I think that if you're applying to like a production company or a post-production company, I'm not sure if one is necessarily easier than the other. I've just had more experience with applying for a full-time job at a post-production company, so I can say that at least like the environment was really small and it's somewhat more relaxed. Unlike a production company, or if you're working for like a studio or if you're working on set, you're gonna be up on your feet all day. The work is definitely a lot different from when you're just being an editor. You're kind of sitting in the same office all day long, just like taking notes from your clients and editing whatever projects on the deadline that you have. Another question I received is what type of films I want to make and what my favorite directors are. So this is actually a tough question. People would always ask me that before I got into film school. I never really had an answer because I was kind of just coming up with ideas for every genre. It honestly all depends on the idea that I have and what I'm getting excited about, because one day it could be a romance film, the next day it could be a slasher thriller where people are getting murdered. Generally, I prefer watching like rom-coms, comedies, and like, you know, kind of magical like adventure movies like Harry Potter. So ideally, I would love to be making those types of movies, but I feel like it is tricky sometimes because a lot of it's already been done before and it gets too cliche sometimes when you're writing the script. But again, it's just kind of whatever idea pops into my head is what I'm going to be writing down. Definitely, I found in film school, it helps to kind of claim a genre at that point. Even if it's not something that you feel like you really want to stick with for the rest of your life, you don't have to, but it helps because all the time, like I was saying, people would ask me like, oh, you want to be a director, what do you want to direct? And I'd say, I don't know, everything, I guess. But if you have a more solid idea of what you want to do and like the genre you want to do it in, then that just makes you sound a little bit more confident. So it kind of helps in that sense. So to answer the second part of that question, who my favorite directors are, hands down, my favorite director is always going to be Wes Anderson. He's probably one of the most stylized directors I've ever seen in my life. And that's what I love about him. I don't think he's made one bad movie, honestly, in my opinion. Because he's able to take his style, put it into his writing, put it into his directing. His cinematography is always on point. Because it almost looks like you're looking in a dollhouse when you're watching these characters like move about and live their lives. He always just puts out the most like visually appealing movies and just with really great stories as well. Like they're really fun to watch. So definitely go check him out. As far as other directors I like Paul Thomas Anderson. I talked about this previously, but I really like Edgar Wright as well. Some of Sofia Coppola's stuff. Obviously Steven Spielberg, I mean, it's kind of hard not to like him. There's quite a lot of directors that I really like. Not too many that I like follow like really closely, but enough to where I know like if I'm seeing one of their movies, I can tell their style and I can tell that it's them. But I'll give like a little bit of a longer post about the favorite directors that I like and the movies that they do that I like the best. So just keep an eye out for a blog post sometime in the future about that. So I hope I answered some of these questions for you guys. If you have any more, definitely go ahead, leave those down below in the comments and I'll try to get to all of them as well. And to those of you that did ask questions, thanks so much, I really appreciate it. Also shout out to Rainy Town for suggesting that I do the Q&A in the first place. So if you want to see any more Q&As for me, or if you have any other recommendations for videos that you want to see, go ahead, leave it in the comments below and hopefully shoot some of the videos that you want to see in 2018. So as always, don't forget to go check out my blog, wtfilmschool.com, and don't forget to subscribe to my blog while you're there as well. You can put your email in and that'll just get you some exclusive content from me and some more updates and information about the projects I'll be working on. Don't forget to like this video if you like the video, go on over and subscribe if you haven't already, and links below to my Twitter and my Instagram. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye!